I will call to order a special meeting of the Board of Selectmen at 6:32 on Monday, the 13th of July. January. I will note that Selectman WIllington is not with us again this evening. We do understand that he is improving, and we hope to see him back with us soon. Item A is discussion and appointment of CIP vacancies. For months, we have been asking for people to come forward to serve on CIP, and I'm happy to say after, what would you say, 5-ish months of asking for volunteers, we received not one but 4 names come forward to serve on CIP, and CIP had their first meeting last week. Their next meeting this Wednesday, we'll actually begin looking at projects, so it's important that we make sure that board is full so that we can move forward doing business and they participate from the beginning. So we had 4 members come forward. Jim Bulick sent a letter from the Republican Town Committee recommending Peter Votensik and Jeff Prusak. And we have requests from Sarah Smith as well as Christina Milos to participate on CIP. So we have 2 appointments, and we can discuss those or make a motion and discuss any appointments going forward. So I'll start with, I'm going to make a motion to appoint Christina Bibi Milos as a member of the Capital Improvement Program, filling a vacancy effective January 13th, 2020, expiring November 30th, 2020. 2022. Any discussion?
Second.
A second?
Yeah.
Discussion. Ms. Milos is a former first selectwoman. She served for 8 years. I think all 4 of our candidates bring experience to the table and knowledge and can help move the process forward. I don't think we could go wrong electing any one of them. We only have 2 spots though and 4 candidates. And I just believe her experience would be invaluable as we look at that 5-year plan going forward.
Agree.
I see no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Would you like to, or I will make a motion to appoint Jeff Prusak as a member of the Capital Improvement Program Committee, filling a vacancy effective January 13th, 2020, expiring December 1st, 2021.
Second.
Okay, discussion. You might have noticed that there are 2 different end terms. One of these vacancies sat vacant all of last year as well. So it would come up just a year sooner than the other. They are 2-year appointments. All right, and again, Mr. Prusak has served previously on the Board of Finance. He is currently has been re-elected to serve on the Board of Finance. And again, all 4 of our candidates I think would serve us well. I think Jeff's participation would serve the board well, for the committee. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I want to thank all 4 individuals for coming forward and putting their names forward. I'm sure we could find other ways in which to utilize you. I don't believe Mr. Votensik is currently serving on a board, although he has served on many in the past. And Sarah serves currently on Region 18. And they both have vested interest in these projects. So we still look forward to seeing you, and thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda was discussion and appointment of Board of Education officers. So let's talk about how we got to this point. On December the 10th, the Board of Education met for its first regular meeting following the 2019 elections. And at that time, I was asked to start the meeting and facilitate the election of a chairperson, at which time, after the election of a chair, it would be turned over to the chair and would continue the meeting. That ended in a 3-3 tie after numerous votes. And there didn't seem to be any movement in that. So after that, the Board of Education had until December 18th by state statute to resolve the issue itself before it statutorily came before the Board of Selectmen to appoint not 3 officers as they have, but 2, the chair and a secretary. So where we find ourselves is the Board of Education, 4 members of the Board of Education held a meeting that seems to be in question. It seems to be in question by other members of the Board of Education as well as the legal counsel for the Board of Education. They don't believe that the meeting they held was a duly called meeting, legally called meeting, that they had the authority to call. So we find ourselves in, if that is in fact the case, our statutory duty then is to appoint, after 30 days of taking office, the selectmen of the town shall choose the officers for the membership of the board. And that's where we are when we come here today. I will tell you, there was a meeting that was held. There were elections that took place. That is all what is in question here. So we have our legal counsel present to answer some questions as to the authority of the Board of Selectmen, as to whether or not we have the authority to make these appointments, and all we would have the authority to do, correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney O'Donnell, is appoint a chairperson and a secretary.
That's correct.
The Board of Education does elect a vice chair. The statute does not speak to the vice chair, so I do not believe that is within our statutory authority. I see that the attorney for the Board of Education is here. I don't know if you wanted to share anything on behalf of the board.
Not at this time, Erica.
Okay.
Seems like the parties are well informed on the issue, and I'm sure the town attorney also can share with the Board of Selectmen his views.
Okay. So what I will ask then, especially we obviously have interested parties in this matter, we too are very interested in making sure we handle this the right way so that the town and the Board of Education can move forward to serve our students and our residents. That is the only goal here. Brian, is it within our authority, based on the facts that we've had before us, to appoint officers of the Board of Education?
It's absolutely in our authorities. Section 10, 228, 218 of the Connecticut General Statutes. And that's not based on just wanting to get involved here. Frankly, I don't think the Board of Selectmen has little interest in being involved. Unfortunately, there's a statutory responsibility based on the fact pattern that's been laid before the Board of Selectmen by the Board of Education. The Board of Selectmen has not been involved in this from the beginning beyond notification and the first selectwoman serving as ex officio over the initial meeting at which the gavel should have been passed. Beyond that, there's been very limited Board of Selectmen involvement. This has primarily been a Board of Education issue as it should be. But when Board of Education is unable to appoint its officers, and when their leadership explains to us a number of ways in which the law appears to have been violated, and there doesn't appear to be a lawful consensus as to who those officers should be, the responsibility then does fall on the Board of Selectmen to make that decision. In a perfect world, it wouldn't get this far, but it has, and so now the board is statutorily obligated to make that decision. What's that statute number?
10-218. 10-218.
Thank you.
I stated at the December 10th meeting, after maybe the 3rd or 4th vote that ended in a tie, that I had hoped and believed this should be something that was dealt with at the Board of Education level. I don't think there's any good comes from this process. It has not been it has not been a good process for the townspeople. It certainly has stopped business from being able to move forward at the Board of Education. But we can't ignore the fact that we've been given information that the meeting in which the elections took place was not a legal meeting.
It's not lawful.
It was not lawful. And so from our statutory responsibility, we can't ignore that. All we can do is move forward and do what the statute says, and it doesn't say we can if we want, it says shall. Shall means must, and we take that seriously.
Eric, I think that's a very important distinction. You know, when the statute is left open to interpretation, it will often use the word may. Here it explicitly uses the word shall, and therefore the intent is that if 30 days have passed and the officers haven't been lawfully appointed, then this board shall act.
You know, I do recognize there were 7 members of the Board of Education. Only 6 attended that December meeting. Had all 7 been present, I think we would be looking at a different outcome. We certainly, unless somebody chose not to vote, would not have ended in a tie. And because of that, and I recognize that that board is split down to party lines with a 4-3 Republican Party majority, I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen appoint Herb Errico as chairman of the Board of Education.
Second.
Discussion. So what I do respect is that if they had this meeting with 7 members, I do believe that is the outcome of the vote. And hearing the discussion at that meeting, I was present, and I do believe that that is what we would have ended up with, and recognize that. And what I do say is that all 7 members need to work on behalf of the residents of Willington for education in Willington, and that is their duly elected role. And nobody is attempting to change the fact that they were elected to the Board of Education. That our appointment of a chairperson has 0 bearing on the election. They were elected and they are serving. This has no bearing on that, and no one is trying to change that in any way.
And I would also like to add, we've received the letters. I've read every word of every letter that I've received. This is not a game that I wish to have been engaged in at this moment. I think it's disappointing the way we got here, and it's been kind of local politics at its worst moment. And this is not at all anything that I'm proud of or excited to be participating in. And there can be the head shaking and the nodding. Look, this is what, yeah, thanks. But here's the thing, like, we're essentially here just trying to do the best for this town. And I mean, I can hear that we're hacks. I can hear all of the negative input and the assumptions about our motivations. We're backed into a corner here. I don't want to be doing this any more than you want us to be doing this, but we have no choice at this moment. So
That's not true.
as our lawyer has just said, it very much is true. So I'm sorry that your legal interpretation is different than our attorneys. We have 2 sitting here, and we've received more input from other legal experts. So that's what I have to go by, and that's what I have to listen to. And once again, I think we're down a selectman. Clear, we could totally wipe this thing away in the Democratic favor if we wanted to.
You're doing it.
Are we?
Absolutely.
Because did we not
Indeed
just
you are.
say?
Did I not just make it a
Herb
point?
Errico, the one who was in the conversation as the representative from the Republicans?
Seriously.
Like this, how is this different than what was voted
The
upon?
board isn't electing them.
You fail to recognize that it's not the town attorneys, it's not the Board of Selectmen, but the people of this town that elect our representatives.
And they
And it is
have.
their right
And it
to
is the
select their
obligation of the
officers.
committee. It is the
Not you.
obligation of the committee to establish who their chairs are.
And they
the
did.
committee failed to do that in a legal way.
They
So I'm
did it in a
sorry,
legal
this
way.
is the corner
Herb was
that
a
we're back
member of
into.
that committee last year, and as a member of that committee, as a secretary of that committee last year, he has the full right, and these lawyers can look it up, to call that meeting. And you guys know all this.
You're engaging in legal chicanery, and it's unwarranted.
Okay. I say we call to the vote,
Okay.
because I think we've heard a lot of the input, and I mean,
By the way, what's the
My
difference from
decision.
today from to last week? You said you called that, you tabled the matter because John wasn't here.
I
He's still not here. You guys are doing the same thing.
We tabled the matter last week because we had learned just before our meeting that Selectman Blessington was not going to be here. We did not know his status, we did not know anything about his health at that point, and we gave ourselves time. We do have to move forward with the business of the town. We do not know when Selectman Blessington will be back at the table. We did not know that on Friday when we filed an agenda for this meeting. We have to move forward with town business. While we would love to wait until he's at the table, I don't know when that is. If you do, feel free to share that with us. And so our job is to move forward doing the business of the town that we were elected to do. And that is what we are doing. I apologize, there's a call for the vote. So the motion was Herb Errico as chair of the board of appointment of chair of Board of Education. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I make a motion to appoint Michelle Doucette Cunningham as secretary of the Wellington Board of Education.
Second.
Discussion. When I sat at that meeting, there were two clear candidates for chairman, Ms. Cunningham and Mr. Errico. And what I heard from both of them at that meeting on December 10th is they would happily support each other as their second. They both said it, neither changed their position on their desire to be chair. And I'm taking both of them at their word and appointing Michelle, motioning to appoint Michelle as secretary. Any other discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I was asked to read, Robin, I don't have the email from Donna.
It should be in that packet somewhere.
I didn't see it. All I had was Peter's. No, this is,
Yeah, but it's in there.
oh, it's in this one. Okay, thank you. We did receive two letters. We read them. They were asked to be included in the minutes. It's not, this is just the appointments. You have a copy of Ms. Cook's email that we can add to,
Yeah.
we can include in the minutes? Okay.
Was that in last meeting's minutes as well? Or is there?
No, this is an email that I believe it was sent to Robin as well as I believe the selectman's office. And it was asked to be included in the minutes, and so we will make sure that they are both included and that Robin has a copy of both of them. So there was an email from Peter Latinsik and one from Donna Cook.
She has a letter here from me too.
Okay, and you would like that included in the
Yes, I would.
minutes? Okay. And so we'll make sure that all three of those are included in the minutes of this meeting. Right, without, it's a special means, we cannot add any items to the agenda, so seeing no further business, I make a motion to adjourn at 6:51.
Second.